In this video, I'm going to go over how to do some of the problems on the absolute value graphs and transformations of H and K on the StudentDesmos activity. So the first thing we need to realize is this is what the function will look like when we graph it. And if I were to put in the absolute value function, it would be y equals absolute value of x. And it will, I'm going to change the color here so we can see that it is going to draw directly over that function. This red line right here is the axis of symmetry. So if I were to put in the axis of symmetry, that's where x equals 0. And you can see it drew a vertical line that cuts my absolute function symmetrically in half. So on the next slide, it's just asking you to play with the sliders. We can see a is in the front of our function, front of the absolute value. H is on the inside of the absolute value, and the plus k is on the outside. As I move the sliders, you can see a is either making it skinny or makes it really wide, or if it's negative, it turns it upside down, which is a reflection over the x-axis. If I move the value of h, right now it's 0, but you can see if I increase that value of h and make it positive, that would be x minus, in this case, 3.7. It moved my vertex to the right. If I make the value of h negative, so here, if I have negative 2, this is x minus 2, which gives me x plus 2. That moves the whole function to the left. If I move the k, notice how my function goes up or it goes down. And that's changing the value of k here at the end. So here it's asking me what are the coordinates of the vertex? So it's either a, h, or k. So if I go back, and I can see a doesn't move the vertex at all, so it can't be a. H moves the vertex either left or right, back and forth, and k either moves it up or down. So this must be, h and k must be the value of the vertex right here. So that's how I would answer this, that the vertex is hk, because h moves things left and right, k moves the vertex up and down. On this slide, a lot of students had problems. If I go to looking at what other students have done, let's see if I can figure out how to get there. It's not letting me show other students. Okay, so I guess I won't do that. But what students have done is they've just simply put points here. That's not what I'm looking for. You need to write the equation that would draw a function through each of these values. So remember that y equals a, absolute value x minus h plus k. Okay, so that's what it should look like. I am not going to do sliders. That is not what I want you to do. So I'm going to put a value in for each of these items. So let's say I want to do this blue one, these light blue dots over here to the side. If I do y equals, well, I don't know what k is, a is. So for right now, I'm just going to write a, and then I'm going to put the absolute value. I'm going to put x, and then I'm going to put minus 4, because this says minus 4. And I'm going to close my absolute value. Okay, well, the problem is it's not going to graph it for me. So because I'm not sure what to do, let's just get rid of that A for now. Oh, look, it graphed an absolute value function. However, this absolute value function is not going through this point, -4. So remember, H, right there, H needs to be this number here, my X value of my vertex. So that means that this H needs to be -4. So you see how I stuck that in there? And see how it graphed correctly. So now I can't leave it like this because I can't have a negative, which means that's a positive. So that means I'm going to change this to be +4, and you can see it graphed a function through all those points. So this is what I need to do for my black one, my red one, my orange one, and my purple one. Use your foldable because your foldable shows you how you're going to change this vertex form of absolute value to graph what you need. The other thing that's happening here is what effect does H have on the graph? Some of you wrote you're solving for H. You're not solving for anything. I want to know, what does this value right here of H have on my graph? So if I were to put my parent function, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way back here. Looking at H, what effect does changing the value of H have? Remember, H is right here. This is the number I'm substituting in here. So if H were 3, that moved my graph to the right from the parent. If H were -3, it's moving it to the left. So if this is -3, that would be a +3 inside. So let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to make this -3. Down here, if I write y is equal to absolute value of x +3, notice how it drew right over this function when I changed my value of h. Okay, so when h is -3, my function becomes the absolute value of x +3 because of that minus in front of the h. If I were to do y equals absolute value of x -3, that is going to move my function to the right over here, because here h has a value of 3. So if I move this over, we can see there's h at 3. If I put that in here, that's x -3, it moved it to the right. So when you're answering these questions, you need to tell me that h, the value of h, moves the vertex left and right, depending on if h is positive or negative. Some of you said opposite of the sign that you see. That's good. This one here is asking for the value of a. Go back and play with that. See what it has, what effect it has. On this one here, if you're not sure which graph is correct, you can go back to any of these. Probably the best one is this one, and you can simply type that function in and see what effect, I'm going to move this one back, what effect that had. Where did it go compared to the parent? So you need to be using your tools. This is not about plotting simple points. This is about the absolute value function. Again, here you are to graph what absolute value would go through all 3 of these points you need to use the vertex and vertex form. Same with this one. The other thing on these is it's also asking for the axis of symmetry. So you need to be able to put an equation that will draw a vertical line through that axis of symmetry. I did that at the beginning of this video. All those ask for axis of symmetry. This one here, it gives you the parent function. It's asking you to graph a function that translates 2 units to the right and 3 units down. So you're going to redo, I'm just going to make something up. So I'm going to say x plus 5, this isn't the answer, just letting you know, minus 2. So this here went 5 units to the left and 2 units down. That's the sort of thing this question is asking you to do. And all these are asking you to do those sorts of transformation from the parent function.